Gorilla Grodd and the Legion of Doom may have been defeated, but the damage they caused to the time stream may end up ending the League's golden era before it's even fully started. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Justice League Unlimited issue number 9 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up directly from where the last issue left off, those time quakes continue to rock the Watchtower, meaning that heroes and villains from across history are blinking in and out of existence. Like this older, more villainous version of Harley Quinn who's still loyal to the Joker and needs to be contained by the rest of the League. In fact, there's a lot of new and very confused faces walking around the Watchtower like never before. Hal Jordan gets a moment to actually speak with Abin Sur. A pretty rare thing in and of itself when we stop and consider the last time Hal talked to this guy, he died before making him a lantern. Then you got the real head turners like the composite Batman, Superman, Green Lantern from Mark Waid's own World's Finest series. It's honestly pretty funny when we stop and consider that this guy was like in what, maybe a few pages? The worst part of this brand new scenario is it's not like the League can just send all these time-displaced versions of heroes and villains back home, as all the old methods have been exhausted and are now useless. It's here in their darkest hour they end up getting some very unwanted visitors in the form of Time Trapper Doomsday and the World Forger, two of the most powerful individuals in the DC universe as it stands right now. Though, despite being so powerful, as we quickly discover, these guys are at a loss too. They know the universe is boned right now, and that the Omega energy Grodd ended up releasing is to blame. The only problem is well, they don't actually know that much about Omega energy themselves, and the only way they think they're gonna learn is if they vivisect Grodd. Now, that's the A plot, but over in a very hard-working B plot, we check back on in with Mr. Terrific, as well as a younger time-displaced Mr. Terrific. Yeah, apparently the League decided that they shouldn't hang out with their time-displaced counterparts, lest they end up courting disaster. This is why Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have left the Watchtower. But Terrific is, as always, confident in his own intelligence to not screw things up. Besides, he needs someone that he can bounce ideas off of when it comes to his next mission, and that is rescuing Airwave from wherever he went. Yeah, it turns out he didn't die at the end of the last issue, as he was in energy form, making Michael Holt think that getting the poor kid back is only a matter of applying the right type of science, and indeed the younger version of himself thinks that he may finally have cracked the code, only for him too to end up disappearing back into the ether of time during another chronal quake. Now, what exactly are these chronal quakes about? Well, Time Trapper and World Forger explain. It seems that the world has actually absorbed way too much of that Omega energy, and because the Earth is currently cut off from the rest of the multiverse, it's bleeding through history like a cancer, destroying everything in its path and completely upending the natural laws of the universe. This also kind of explains what sort of time travel we're dealing with right now. Basically, younger Mr. Terrific figured something out, but his older counterpart didn't, which means it's probably gonna be a rule going forward, so we don't have to worry about spoilers or time paradoxes. Obviously, the League knows this is a serious problem that needs their full attention, but at the same time, they refuse to let Time Trapper and World Forger simply take Grodd if they plan to kill him. And even though the two godlike beings didn't come here to fight today, they are more than willing to do battle if it means saving time itself. Back over with Mr. Terrific, it's actually Blue Beetle who ends up saying something pretty profound. Perhaps the reason that Terrific is having such a hard time solving this science problem right now is because he's letting his own emotional baggage get in the way. Again, Terrific felt the worst about Airwave's betrayal than just about anyone else. He was supposed to be watching the kid. He should have known, but he didn't. Naturally, this ends up being exactly the aha moment Mr. Terrific needs. Maybe the reason they're having such a hard time finding Airwave now is he can't actually find his way back to them, and even if he did, perhaps the problem is he feels too much shame to show himself, so naturally the only way to solve this problem is to build a giant cartoony tuning fork. Ah yes, that's the kind of cartoony comic book bollocks I love. Now it's right here as we enter the finale, these two different stories end up bouncing off each other faster and faster, so I'll do my best to try and summarize it as best as possible. Trapper and Forger manage to knock around the League before erecting a tachyon shield to protect themselves. A bunch of the heroes end up dipping in and out as we see some real fun deep cuts like Amazing Man, who, hey, did you know he got to be on that big tapestry from the new Superman movie, as well as Azrael Batman? Try as they might, no one can actually get through the floor except for Supergirl, who is smart enough to realize that this tachyon shield doesn't actually extend beyond the floor, meaning that she's free to just tunnel down and tunnel back up. However, when she comes out the other side, we actually see Supergirl get split into all of her very different incarnations from across across DC comic book history, and oh man, Supergirl really does have one of the most complex and out there histories, doesn't she? It's good vibes all around too, as Mr. Terrific's luck ends up changing for the better as well. He reaches out his hand to tell Airwave that everything is going to be okay, that the Justice League isn't mad at him, that they understand that Grodd played him, and that they'll never make it right unless he comes back. Hey, look at that, you didn't have to abandon your emotional baggage after all, did you, Mr. Terrific? In fact, you could use that and science at the same time. And hey, speaking of science, that's exactly what Grodd uses to save his skin in this situation. He pleads his case to World Forger and Time Trapper by saying that as it stands right now, he's probably the world's foremost expert on the chaotic Omega energy. Oh, sure, they could cut his brain open, or they could take him with them alive so he could help them solve this problem that him and his gang helped create, which honestly, to Time Trapper and World Forger seems like a pretty sweet deal. They've bamfed out of there with him. And the implication is the challengers of the unknown are going to give chase, whether that's here or over in their own book, I'm not exactly 100% certain. Now, as the comic comes to a close, we actually get the chance to check back on in with the Trinity. It seems that because they can't operate out of the Watchtower anymore, they've decided to retake residency over at Mount Justice, aka the Justice League of America's original headquarters. How about that? Batman has called this meeting, and that's because he's beginning to worry that in creating this brand new Justice League, they might very well have doomed the entire world. But to find out more about that, we're going to have to pick up the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special and see where things end up going from there. And so that was Justice League United issue number 9, everybody. And overall, I thought this issue was pretty cool. Yes, it is very much an epilogue to We Are Yesterday, which means it mostly exists to clean up some hanging plot threads from the main story and give more clarification. Again, I was 100% right that all of these different heroes and villains are here now because they are being collected from across the time stream, including possible futures and possible pasts. The storytelling potential on this one is certainly through the roof, especially when we stop and consider that some of these heroes and villains will not be contained to the Watchtower and they've already left to follow their own motives, so I'll be really interested to see if we get to read that reflected in any of the other books or not. It was also really nice too to see Mr. Terrific get the spotlight in this issue. Again, it's like they couldn't have timed it better in terms of multimedia synergy, as Mr. Terrific is now everyone's new favorite character from the Superman movie, and rightfully so. Speaking of, James Gunn mentioned in an interview that Gorilla Grodd is going to be pretty prominent to the brand new DC Cinematic Universe moving forward, and I have to wonder if the pump has been primed with Grodd here in this book having a place of such prominence. Beyond that, the book looks great. I love how they are able to render these chronal quakes and what it does to the heroes. And beyond that, Mark Waid is clearly having an absolute blast getting to play with all the different toys in the box, with no limitation. Again, I don't think I like this issue as much as the one that preceded it, but I did enjoy it, which is why I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.